What?
Yes? What is it?
Sorry, sir. I thought somebody said something.
You haven't noticed anything odd? Well, not exactly odd. Unusual about Matthew lately.
Was he listening to nothing or talking to himself?
Yes, talking. Well, both, really.
Yes, he does seem to have changed quite suddenly this last week or so.
Colin? Yes? Do you know anybody who can hear somebody talking? Kind of inside himself.
Perhaps this Chocky is who he's been talking to.
Yes, he does seem convinced there's somebody there. But who or what on earth is Chocky? I'm back.
I'm in here.
Had a good day?
All right.
But?
Matthew.
I thought his temperature was down this morning.
Yes. Well, physically, he's okay.
Oh, Chocky's still staying, is he?
I don't think it's funny. He thanked me
Oh?
for telling Chocky to go away last night.
Did he now?
Said you wouldn't listen to him. I think it's very odd. I really don't know what to make of it.
I've never heard of a 12-year-old inventing a character like this.
Well, he doesn't seem to think that it is invented.
What does he think it is, then?
Well, I'm not sure, really. He treats it all as though it's absolutely real, and yet... Well, he doesn't seem to be able to make up his mind whether or not it's a he or a she.
Now, that is odd. Oh, I don't suppose it'll do him any harm to let him have his bit of fantasy.
Yes, but what do we do?
Oh, why don't we just give it a bit of time, play along with it for a bit and see how it goes?
Well, that doesn't sound very right to me.
No?
If we go around pretending to believe in things that aren't really there, how on earth is a child supposed to distinguish what's real?
Depends on how many people believe it. Isn't that what most of the world's religions are about?
You're no help at all.
Anyway, I better go and say hello to him. Otherwise, he'll start thinking there is something wrong.
Oh, take Polly's toys up with you.
Hi.
Hello, Dad.
Feeling better?
Yes, thanks.
What you been doing with yourself all day?
Not much. Tried to do a bit of drawing. I couldn't get it right.
I think Leonardo can rest easy.
Colin came round, but Mummy said she didn't think he ought to come up, in case I was catching.
Quite right.
And Chocky hasn't come back yet.
Chocky, yes. This isn't another piff, is it?
No! No, Dad. Everybody knows Piff's just somebody Polly's invented. Chocky's real.
But invisible.
Yes. She's more a sort of... well, a sort of presence, I suppose you'd say.
Ah.
Dad, you don't think I'm going mad, do you?
Yeah, bonkers. Whatever gave you that idea?
Well, Colin says hearing voices is a well-known first sign of madness.
And is that what Chocky's like, a voice that you hear?
Yes.
Telling you to do things?
No. More asking questions. She wants to know about us. The way we live and think. Everything about our world. Really, because it's so different from her own.
Her own world? You mean she's from somewhere else?
Yes. I can't understand exactly where, but I know it's a long, long way away.
I see. So all these strange questions you've been asking lately...
Now for Chocky, that's right.
Well, at least we've got that sorted out. I'll tell you something that is bothering me, though.
What?
You don't seem very sure whether Chocky's a he or a she.
No. Chocky doesn't know either.
Oh. Isn't that a bit, unusual?
Well, yes. I thought so. But she just doesn't know about that sort of thing. I had to explain all the differences between men and women. Even then, she couldn't seem to grasp it.
She sounds a bit thick.
Oh, no. She's fantastically brilliant. She just didn't know about male and female. She thought it was a pretty stupid arrangement.
Did she indeed?
Yeah. Finds a lot of things stupid. Gets a bit boring sometimes listening to him.
What sort of things?
Well, animals, for instance. He thinks animals are hilarious.
Why?
Sister Dim told him that's not their fault. It's the way they're made.
Quite right. He's got... Listen, we'd better decide on one or the other. He or she.
Yeah. Chocky does talk rather like a boy. But a lot of the time it's not about the sort of things boys talk about. Sometimes it's the way older girls talk. Bit bossy, you know.
Yeah, so?
Altogether, when I really think about it, Chocky seems more female than male. So I think I'll call her she.
Good. Well, at least that's something.
I wonder if we ought to get some help.
Why? It doesn't seem to be doing him any harm.
Well, I don't want to find that we've been helping to stabilise a fantasy that we ought to have been trying to dispel.
Oh, I'm sure we're not. And at least we've made one advance.
Oh?
We've agreed to regard Chocky as a she.
Really? You're getting as bad as Matthew.
Oh, come on, we haven't got round to the really big question yet.
What's that?
If Chocky is real, why has she chosen Matthew?
Matthew can do it faster. He did it in seconds the other day in my house.
Oh, that's really good.
Seconds. I don't know. I didn't have a watch on him, but it's the fastest I've ever seen.
Oh, what a rubbish.
Show me you've ever seen. You're just... No, I don't want to.
Good afternoon, everyone. Settle down. Quiet now. Hello, Matthew. Nice to see you back.
Thank you, Miss Blade.
Now, who's going to give these books back for me?
I will.
Sharon? Now, listen. Your homework was terrible. We'll go through it all again, right? And pay attention. What are these? Roger.
Male and female gametes, Miss Blade.
Good. At least we've got that settled. Now, why is the female gamete always larger than the male? Jane?
Because it stores the food for the zygote to live on.
Yes, good. Now, why does the male gamete always have a tail? Matthew?
So it can swim to the female and fuse with it.
Yes, right. Now then, who can tell me what happens next?
Please, miss.
Yes, Matthew.
How do people who only have one sex manage to reproduce?
Well, we all only have one sex. What do you mean?
No. What I meant was one kind of person. All alike. Not different like men and women.
You mean asexual reproduction. You should know that, Matthew. We've already done asexual reproduction. It only occurs in plants, not in animals, and certainly not in people.
Sometimes it does.
Oh, that's nonsense, Matthew, and you know it is, don't you?
No, Miss Blade.
What do you mean, no?
It isn't nonsense, Miss Blade. Because I know somebody like that.
Whatever do you mean?
Nothing, Miss Blade. Nothing.
Well, you must have meant something.
No. Sorry.
All right. Some eggs are bigger than others. A hen's egg, for example, is many times larger than a human egg. Now, who can tell me why this is? Susan.
Because the human embryo will get its food from the mother and not from the egg. But the hen embryo develops outside the mother, so it has to get its food from the egg.
Yes, good. Well, you all seem to know it today, so what happened to your homework?
Are you okay, Matt?
Now, I'd like you all to turn to page 107.
Where?
Oh, it's very smart, darling.
What's the drag coefficient? Can you turn the seats into a rectangle?
Oh, I was quite right to choose this colour. It's wonderful.
You know what the
I bet it's only about 0.3. Can I go in it?
Oh, it's lovely, darling. Very smart.
Can I see the engine? Can you open the bonnet, Dad?
Yes, is that knob down there?
I'll do it.
Give it a good pull. That's it.
Oh, I bet it's fast. How fast can it go, Dad?
Oh, about 100 miles an hour, I should think. There. How's that for a bonnetful?
Oh, can we go for a drive?
After dinner, darling.
Can I go and get Colin to show him?
Later, when we've eaten.
Now, don't touch anything. I'll be back in a minute.
What? Pardon?
It'll be good for when we go on holiday. All that room in the back.
Oh, Alan and Phil are coming around later on to talk over the final details, who's going to take what and so on.
Good. Well, there's no sense in duplicating things.
Daddy, what's wrong with Matthew? No! 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 Go away!
Hey. What's the matter? Shh. Whatever is it? Matthew.
Something wrong with the car?
Come on. Come inside. Come inside. It's all right, darling. Come on. Come on, it's all right. Come on, come and sit down. Come on. There. Better now?
Yes. Yes.
What on earth was wrong?
It was the car.
The car?
Not the car exactly. I think it's Brill.
So?
I thought Chocky would be interested.
Chocky?
So I started to tell her how it works and everything.
And wasn't she interested?
She said it was silly and ugly and clumsy. She laughed at it. Who thinks it's fab?
Yes, dear, shush.
I think Matthew's Chocky is stupid and silly. She's a stupid Chocky. You know I'm thinking.
Stop it, Matthew, stop it! Both
Come
of you.
with me into the kitchen. Come on and help me get the supper.
She's only jealous.
Yes, I expect she is. What did Chocky actually say about the car? What did you find so funny?
Almost everything. She said the engine's old-fashioned and funny. Just an engine that needs gears is ridiculous anyway. And a car that doesn't use its engine to stop itself as well as make itself go is stupid.
I dare say she has a point. In theory, at least. Was that all?
Oh, no. She thinks it's terribly funny to have a car that needs springs and wheels that have to have inflated sausages fastened around them. She says we seem to be stuck in the age of the wheel.
Oh, dear. She has been having a go at us, hasn't she?
I told her that's how cars are. And ours is the very latest thing. And she laughed and said nobody with any brains would make anything so dangerous or so clumsy. Nobody with any sense would ride in it. And I got mad and started shouting at her, I suppose.
Did she say what cars should be like?
She says where she comes from. Cars don't have wheels at all. They go along above the ground. And don't need any roads or make any noise. They're made so they can't crash into one another.
Sounds good, if you could manage it. Of course, we have got the hovercraft.
I know. I told her. She says that's old-fashioned too.
I'll get it.
She seems to find a good many things stupid or silly or plain old-fashioned.
Yeah. Silly everything, really.
No answer to that, is there?
No.
Tell me, Have you found out where Chocky comes from yet?
No. The trouble is, if you don't know where anything else is, how can you find out where you are?
Who's on the phone?
Mr. Trimble.
Oh. What have you been up to now?
He wants to see us tomorrow evening. Exercise books to carry.
Thank you. I'm sorry to drag you over here, but I've got an evening class in half an hour, and this seemed the most convenient way of doing it.
That's all right.
Now, let's get some seats.
Oh, thank you. These chairs take me back.
Not as much as the smell of cooking.
So, what's the problem?
Well, I'm not sure it's right to describe it as a problem exactly. It's just there's been a remarkable change in Matthew's approach to school over the past few weeks. I'd noticed it myself. I'd taken for maths, as you know, but I thought he'd just been reading something or, well, I don't know. And then his other subject teachers started to talk to me about him, and it seems that this change goes right across the board.
What changes that, Mr. Trimble?
Well, I can't speak for his other subjects, of course, but in maths, he's obviously getting some stimulus. And I wondered if he'd been getting private coaching or anything like that.
No. Well, we didn't think there was any need.
Thank you. Perhaps one of you is a mathematician.
I'm certainly not. Oh,
No, I'm just an accountant. Simple arithmetic, yes.
Oh, it's strange. I wonder where he can be getting it from. It's not, in the family. Something hereditary.
No?
Not as far as we know.
Oh. Someone's been giving him ideas.
But I wonder, Mr. Trimble, if...
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for it in a general way. Anything that gets them going is welcome. But when a child is trying to cope with two different systems, it can confuse him rather than help him.
I'm still not sure I understand exactly what it is you're saying, Mr. Trimble. You mean he's trying to get ahead too fast,
No.
missing out some of the steps?
It's more like trying to think in two languages at the same time.
Two different languages? Well, how do you mean, Mr. Trimble?
Well, now, at first I wasn't quite sure what had got out of gear for the boy. Then I got hold of his rough work book, and that gave me a line on it. Oh, well, let me show you what I mean. Now.
What do you reckon that means?
179.
How do you get that?
Well, starting at the right, each one is double the one before it. That adds up to 179. See, 100 would be like this. That's 4, and 32, and 64, which is 100, right?
Yes, it's what's called the binary code.
Is it? I didn't know. It's the way Chocky counts.
I was afraid Chocky might have something to do with this, but don't you think it's rather long-winded?
Chocky thinks it's silly just because you happen to have 10 fingers to have to bother with 10 different figures. And all you really need is 2.
I see. Yet another of the things she finds silly. You mean when she counts, she just uses Y's and N's?
Sort of. I just call them Y and N for yes and no because it's easier.
Yeah, it's the way computers count, but where did you come across it? Mr. Trimble says you haven't done it at school.
I told you, Dad. It's the way Chocky always uses.
I really can't take much more of this. He's beginning to drive me round the bend.
You're not suggesting Matthew.
No. I don't know.
Well, it's no good just telling him to pack it in.
Well,
He'll
then what
simply
are we supposed
clam
to
up,
do?
shut it away inside
we
himself.
need
and then he'll
professional help.
I know, but what sort of professional help?
Well, I don't know. I'm not an expert in these things.
I mean, the really odd thing about it is the way Chocky comes up with things Matthew couldn't possibly know, or even think of for himself. Take the business with the car. You don't seriously think he wanted to say it was clumsy and old-fashioned, do you?
Well, there has to be a logical explanation.
Yes. Yes, that's right. No. They use it for putting satellites into orbit. Chocky, I can't understand you. All right.
The simplest thing would be to ask Dr. Acott to recommend a consultant.
Oh, I don't think this is really on a GP's line. And I can just imagine his reactions, assuming Matthew could be persuaded to tell him anything, which is doubtful.
If only we knew something about Matthew's background. And there might be a history of this sort of thing in the family.
What sort of thing?
Well, mental disturbances.
What are you suggesting? Darling, you've got to accept it. He's a foundling. We adopted him. We're the only family he's ever had. There's no way we can find out where he came from.
Yes. You have to knock out all the enemy ships before they get you. No. It's only a game. Yeah. You see?
No. 86. I'll never do it at top level. Here, you have a go.
Oh, I don't know.
You're not chicken, are you?
No. Of course not.
What level?
A top.
There you are. Right. Here we go. Into action.